Hello, Ray. Hello, Richard.
Hey, Mike.
How's everybody doing this evening?
Very good.
Me unmute. Evening, guys.
How you
Hey,
doing?
Dick.
Well, I've done better.
Still, huh?
Well, I've got a name of a new orthopedic guy that I sent a whole packet of information to end of last week.
Yep.
So I'm going to try to get an appointment in to see him, and hopefully we can get a MRI, and maybe he'll also agree to do a epidural, just to calm things down a little bit.
Crazy, huh? Hi, Maureen.
Hi. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Maureen.
You guys start early, huh? Great.
I'm always
One
afraid
minute.
I'm not going to get on.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, so I was always worried that maybe something might get crossed up in the
Yeah.
lot going on.
Beautiful day, huh? I think we broke records.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. Yeah. It's
Well,
gonna.
it's already taken a nosedive. I was out on the front deck to put a couple things back against the house, and it's already getting cold out there.
Windy too, all of a sudden, huh?
Yeah, and that moon is something else.
It's
Yeah,
supposed,
full moon.
supposed to be a blood moon tonight, right?
I think so, but usually you only see that when the moon rises. Like right now, it's just it's up high, and it's super brilliant.
I guess there's an eclipse too tonight,
Yeah,
and just before the sun rises tomorrow. So
It won't happen again until 2025.
I've got one of those. Well, Gloria had bought it for me. It's one of these reasonably good telescopes. You know,
right.
unfortunately, I never had a permanent place to set it up, because like I wouldn't want to leave it outside, and setting it up just looking out the window in the front just didn't seem to cut it.
She doesn't have you go up on the roof with it?
No, that would be a feat by itself.
I think we're going to just see if Gwen or Margaret can join us here. This is kind of our last meeting before the big meeting next week. So got a lot to talk about, kind of finalize a few of our duties for the meeting, whatever. So but maybe just give them another minute. So I didn't hear that they weren't coming. So
I think the four of us makes a quorum.
yeah. Well, I guess we can. It is 7:02. Of course, hopefully everybody's on time. You turn your clocks back, right? So that's a good thing. So okay, we'll call the meeting to order here at 7:02. Everybody have a chance to look at the meeting, the minutes from the last meeting. Any comments, questions, changes? Have a motion to approve?
Yeah, looks fine to me.
Second.
Motion to approve.
I second. I
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on. Any communications or announcements anybody has? No.
No.
Then maybe we'll jump right into it then. The old business, which is next week's business, is the leadership meeting. I think I try to keep you all in the loop on a bunch of things, but just to let you know that I have been getting response, kind of a trickle of responses back of people that have responded. I put out about, I'd say, close to 50 email invitations to people, And we got some responses from a number of people. So far, it looks like we'll have some representation from, let's see, the Board of Ed, the Assessor's Office, the Senior Center. We also, I think the Eastern Connecticut Sportsman Club will be there, have a representative. There may be some others, but like I said, I've been trickling. There's a couple others I don't know right off the top of my head here, but so we'll see. I mean, I'm right now I'm expecting 20, but there may be more that show up. We've obviously advertised it in the Citizen a couple of times. Put it on the Our Town, Our Future Facebook page.
Sometimes a phone call is required to tickle someone's idea on these things. I was surprised the last meeting we had the postmaster attend. We also had someone from Camp Contry attend. And Camp Contry has continued to be active in the community. They've hosted a number of events on their facility, which they didn't used to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I just had so many things going on here last month or so. So I'm squeezing all this in between life, like everybody else, of course. But I mean, I did talk with my mailman today, and right now they're in between postmasters. I mean, I think everybody might have seen it on the Ashford community page that our postmaster, she left like about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They don't have anybody. And
Well,
I thought Drew was
they've
going to come
assigned
back.
a new one, Mike.
Huh?
They've assigned a new postmaster. I talked to him yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I don't have his name because I was concerned with the delivery of a newspaper, but he had indicated that he has taken over and that he's cleaning stuff up. So there is a human there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you know the guy, if you can call back and invite him. I asked my mailman to invite them for the meeting because I didn't have anybody to contact, and their email system is at least something to be desired when you're trying to reach out to somebody there. But so if you don't mind, if you have a chance, Ray, to give them a call, and since you've already talked with them, because the mailman didn't seem to think there was anybody assigned yet, so not sure what that's about.
Okay.
But other than that, I think if you saw the list, I think we at least got an invite. I mean, there are some people that I missed that I just couldn't find an email, or the people have moved on. There's a lot of emails even for 3 years ago. I know there weren't people there. You know, I did get one, I think, email back, but I try to reach out to the Boy Scouts. Well, you saw the list, so I won't repeat it. But anyhow, we'll see how that goes. I think there'll be planning and zoning members represented. I think the Board of Selectmen will be there. We've certainly made the Economic Development Commission members aware of it. So I guess we'll just wait and see. You know, there is some interest. So if it works out, then if we have 10, 15 people, then we'll go with it. You know. So I think I also did mention that I did meet with Jeff Silversmith last week. I thought it was a pretty good meeting. He's very engaged with what's going on here. He had taken quite a bit of time to go through, obviously, the plan of conservation development. So he has some things he's working on relative to looking at what they see as some of the accomplishments, and I think really identifying some of the opportunities that are still left there. So he would hope to get me some more detail on his thoughts on how to kind of weave that into part of the agenda here for next week, but I haven't got that yet. As soon as I do, I will forward it to all of you. But I mean, needless to say, I kind of let him say, hey, Jeff, it's really, if you can take on as much of this meeting as you want. Obviously, we're here to facilitate and look for ideas and things that can be initiatives in town, but any of the things we actually come up with that would be new to this, outside of what's been identified in the POCD, are really things that would ultimately be folded back into the POCD as well as goals and objectives. So I think, it's kind of cross purposes. It's a positive thing. I think certainly he's on board with, the introduction of people and maybe find out what everybody really is important to them. in Ashford, and then, we could do the breakout groups. Again, I've asked Christine to get us another couple of those post-it easel charts so we can take notes. And I think our job would be really to, if we do the breakout groups, is everybody take notes and maybe assign one person, depending on how many breakout groups we have, to kind of take notes again, like we did the last time. And Ray, I know you've been working on your penmanship, so I know that it'll be really good. So I have too. My mind's moving towards more like what yours used to be, Ray. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm using my right hand now.
Unfortunately, Mike, I don't think I can manage to sit in the chairs in Knowlton Hall.
Yeah.
For the time. One of my latest developments is my right leg has gone almost completely numb.
Mm.
So.
Well, certainly you've done a lot for us here, Richard, and I think obviously you've given a lot of feedback, and if you can't attend, you'll be there in spirit, that's for sure. So I know that a lot of the work you've done behind the scenes to help with planning and zoning has been really groundbreaking in a sense. I think that's very much appreciated, and we're going to continue on that good work here, hopefully next Wednesday. So so again, I mean, I think that other than I think next week, we're scheduled to start the meeting from 7 and go to 9. Really don't want it to go, trying to keep it within that framework. It's probably too long the meeting in one sense, but I think knowing how we've gone in the past, I think it's going to be, we'll be able to, at least hopefully get everything put into that time frame. Like I said, maybe I don't know if anybody can get there a little earlier, like 6:30ish, and maybe we can. The thought again was to set it up in a round circle again, so everybody's kind of facing each other to start with, and then depending on the number of people, then we determine still maybe break up into the 4 groups like we did the last time. And the thought, one of the thoughts Jeff thought about, and you still, we can go with whatever you think at this point. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Is when we go around the room the first time, when everybody introduces themselves, we kind of identify, the things that are important to people. Then you kind of, you kind of give those back to everybody, and people come back in the groups, and you kind of see what the groups independent of each other, what they kind of come back with, and in that one sense, kind of, if the same, 3, 4, 5 things keep on showing up in everybody's list, it's kind of their ranking priorities, then kind of identified at least with a small population group here, kind of what the community may feel as credible ideas and things. So, again, I guess part of it is, seeing who ends up showing up. Go ahead, Ray. I know you wanted to say something.
No, I was saying that when you make up your groups, are you going to consider the synergy amongst certain groups within the town as far as who gets together? In other words, do we want groups that are loaded with oddball preferences or directions, or do we want groups that are more alike in membership?
My experience has been over the years, and I know what you guys, I don't know what your experience has been, but I've always found that if you have people of kind of a diverse group that gets together, you end up with better ideas more normally. If you have the same kind of same thinking, if you had like all people that are on one committee like EDC, you can have more. I think I would tend to think. I mean, that's what I've found in the past.
So you would avoid that similarity if possible.
Yes, I think so. I mean, the way we did it the last time, we just had everybody count off in 4s, and we had all the 1s go together, 2s, and that.
That's right. And I'm not sure that created randomness as far as the the interest within the group, but I'm just throwing it out. If you have a reasonably control, if you had 50, 60 people, I would agree with, you could be random and get away with it. But if you've got 15 people, you may want to create that diversity, because you're saying you don't prefer to have similarities among people within a group. I don't disagree with that. So therefore, you want to have as much diversity as possible. Do you want to create it when you have a smaller group? Or do you want to take the chance that it would be random just by counting it by fours?
Yeah, I mean, it's
You
unfortunately.
control it, so you could call it.
Right. I mean, you'll probably, I don't know if you remember, probably like 5 years ago, we had a stakeholders meeting. We actually identified the groups and the subject matter for each group to go, was, I think one was environment, the other was like economy, the other was, I don't know, rule of character or whatever. And we had the groups go there and kind of work on it and identify things within those subject matters. But I think this, may be more of a kind of getting back what we tried to recreate what we did the last time. And then obviously one of the things Jeff and I talked about, I think that's critical here and being something to talk about is that, if we get, a similar kind of listing of outputs from this meeting, that we have another follow-up meeting to kind of work on those things, in between. We have a follow-up meeting, in the springtime sometime. So in other words, we gather these things, we maybe get some ideas of things, get some people together, and then maybe have some people work on some things kind of generically, and then have them come back in the springtime, see how they progress with furthering some of those ideas or goals, I'll say.
Yeah, Mike, thinking back to who was participating in some of the previous ones, did you specifically reach out to Steve Morianko?
I don't know if he was on. I mean, I reached out to the Conservation Commission, but
Yeah, but I mentioned his name in particular because he was one of the more vocal participants
Mhm.
in the one we had about 5 years ago. Another person I think that we would want to see is get some representation from the Historical Society, and I would to get I can't think of her first name, but
Burnham.
Burnham is the last name. But if we could reach out to get her to come. There was also
Yeah, I did reach out to Joan Bowley though, so I did invite Historical Commission.
I don't know if she's back and forth, whether she's physically in town right now or not. I don't know. I think she goes south, at some point in time for the winter. So
Yeah, I mean, is that something? Does anybody have her email address? I may. I'm not sure if I do or not, but
I don't know, I might.
I mean, would somebody want to take a lead on that? And
another person that was an outgrowth of one of our previous things was the Art Council, and they've been very active. I don't know if you included Deb Gagg.
yes, I did. They unfortunately have like a some kind of Zoom thing next week. They're very active, which is fantastic. But in doing so, they have a pretty full calendar of different events. I just saw that they just put out a notice. So they have like a Zoom, guest artist doing a presentation next Wednesday. So I don't know whether that'll impact us or not. So yeah, those at least all those groups have been invited, and not necessarily those individual people, but so Ray, you'll try to reach out to Miss Burnham there, and at least forward her an invite. Ray,
What?
would you be able to maybe extend an invitation to Miss Burnham?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even know how to contact her.
Oh, I thought you said you had her email. Okay.
No, I may have Joan's email.
Okay. Yeah, I sent something to Joan.
I think
Hopefully
it's Gina Burnham.
Gina.
Her husband is Jesse Burnham.
Yep. She said Gina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do have something here. So I'll send her an invite.
And
She's
even though you went to the Wetlands and Conservation, Steve Morianko is, He's had a lot of ideas and opinions. I think you probably know him personally better than I do, Ray. But
I don't know the name, to be honest with you. Are you
Steve Mo-
talking about, are you
Steve-
talking the new wetlands agent?
no, Steve Morienko. He's on the Conservation Commission.
No, Steve, yeah.
I
Moikyo,
do.
yes,
Oh, Moretco.
Moricco, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you, Marenko, I lost you. Yes, I do, Dick. I know Steve quite well. And yes, he's got an opinion on everything,
Yeah,
which is good.
but he also participates.
Yes, he does.
And he was very instrumental in terms of the trail systems and the like.
Well, he's an avid birder. And I know that. And that leads to his interest in, obviously, in conservation and trails and stuff. But did you send a note to him at all, or?
I sent one to Conservation Commission. I didn't necessarily send them to individuals like that, but we can. I can send out to Gina and
Well, I think if you sent did you send a note probably to Loretta Roble?
yes, I did.
Then if you sent a note to her and asked her if she, if she could bring Steve with her, that she could do for you, and as opposed to direct contact, because I don't really know how to contact him. I know him, but I don't have any email for him.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. I got it. I have his email.
Yep.
You do?
Mike, you also contacted the churches?
I did Pastor Pat, and I think I did leave. I didn't, I did the St. Philip's. I didn't have any luck with, and the other church I didn't know who else to contact.
Steve Anderson is the
Oh yeah, I
interim
know.
pastor.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, okay. So he's with what? Westford Hill?
Yes,
Yeah.
Westford Hill.
Yeah, I know Steve. He was my son's band leader in middle school. Okay, I'll try to reach him as well. Okay, I'll send out those.
If I would be, I would think that Pastor Pat would want to participate. They've been increasingly doing outreach.
Right.
They've built that new outdoor meeting facility, and although they've moved back inside.
Does the Camp Conry commander, or whatever they call him up there, is that the same guy we had before?
I don't think so. I sent them I outreached to them. It looked like it was a different person, because the person that I originally had dealt with looked like they're no longer there.
Mhm.
So I outreached them. I haven't heard back from them. I do know that there's been a lot of activity going on, meetings actually between the town, Conry, the churches, the senior. I think the senior center for human services, relative to a lot of things that are going on in the community relative to needs of people, due to ongoing costs of things. So I mean, there has been some ongoing, I'd say great partnership or synergy going on. So, but I'll if I have time, I may just send out another email blast to people that I invited that haven't shown up again, or just everybody. But yeah, I think you all saw the list that we had, and there was a pretty broad spectrum of people. Like I said, it got in the Citizen, got out on social media a little bit. So, if anybody else has any email addresses, or if you know somebody you think may be interested, shoot them an email. That always works. I think the personal touch. So I would encourage you to do that.
Okay.
So any other thoughts? I mean, I'm not planning on, I don't know whether to bring some bottled water or something. I don't know. I can always bring a couple of cases of water or something, but I wasn't planning on any snacks or anything. That seems like that always seems to be a
Yeah.
kind of a waste. So I'll bring
Well,
some.
it kind of fell flat that, I don't know whatever happened to that lady that had the gluten-free bakery.
Yeah.
She brought some really nice cookies at one time. But I think she's gone on a business, or she sold her house. I know that.
Oh, she's out of town. She doesn't. Yeah, I think she's still in business, but she ended up with a commercial kitchen and they took it out of her house and sold her house eventually. I'm not even sure she's in the area.
So, again, I guess at this point, the logistics, you know, we've got and I may end up not having them. I'm not sure whether, our first selectman will be there or not. He kind of gave me a heads up. He might have to be out of town that day, but, I did talk with Catherine Silversmith and she'd be willing to, she'll be there anyhow. So she'd be willing to, you know, introduce everybody, kind of head things off, lead things off. So, you know, we had the general outline or agenda for the meeting, and again, depending on how, you know, kind of read the crowd, see who's there. And then, like I said, you know, Jeff is working on kind of massaging some things, kind of make it flow for him and, you know, his commission. And then, you know, I think if it just flows the way it did the last time, I think it kind of took it, you know, took its own course. I thought it was good. So,
Right.
I think we have enough to kind of talk about or bring it back and, you know, facilitate. So I think part of it will be kind of, I hate to say it, and I don't necessarily always like to do it, but a little ad hoc, on the fly a little bit. But I think there's a lot for us to fall about, talk about. And you know, usually when you even have, you know, 5 or 6 people come, there's always enough to talk about. So, any other thoughts? I mean, get there like 6:30 just to set up if you can. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think,
I'll be there at 6:30.
I mean,
I can be there at 6:30. Yeah.
it's probably going to be a little bit of sitting around, but at least we can kind of get things going. We've got enough markers. I did check in the meeting, you know, the commission's room there last week. That there's enough markers that we have there. And kind of hopefully Christine is going to order another pad. They had one pad, but want to make sure we had enough paper. And then just bring a notebook yourself. You know what? You think we should still have a sign-in sheet? I can just print off a couple of those like we did the last time.
Yeah.
So I'll do a sign-in sheet. I know the last time, this one time we had quite a bit of, you know, we did like a little survey thing we had people fill out, but I don't think we need to do that at this point. You know, we had something that was, you know, you know, all kinds of feedback. Can you guys see that? I can't share my screen.
There we go.
Too far to see, but we had like a 2-pager. It was pretty, you know, this is where we kind of potential initiatives. This is one of the earlier ones, or 2017. But I don't think we need to do that because we had like list. This is one of the ones where we listed communications, Mount Hope Trail, increasing support of like economic development, housing rental, inventory of historic buildings and places, bike trails, and shared services. But I think we'll just go with what we have, and I'll get assignment up sheet. I think a lot of times.
You probably want something you're going to do some follow-up, I would imagine. The sign-up sheet will give you a shot at it.
Yep, that's good. Yep. So, I mean, any other thoughts at this point? I mean, it's, I will forward to you, you know, if I don't hear from Jeff, say by tomorrow evening, I'll give him a shout, see where it's at. But like I said, I mean, I was encouraged. He had done a lot of homework on before I met with him, and I think, so I think he understands, you know, what's ahead of them with POCD. Obviously that's a planning and zoning initiative and responsibility, but I mean, I think these kind of meetings at least can begin to stimulate some of the interest in what that involves. And I think, I believe at least that the plan of conservation development is kind of a pretty good document. It serves kind of like almost like a town's strategic plan in one sense, or business plan. It has a lot of good stuff in there. So I think, you know, it can serve a lot of purposes. So,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think all of you have mentioned this at one time. I think Jeff indicated that one of the things is that, to really to stimulate some more attention and activity on some of the things that are in the plan of conservation development that really have gone untouched, we'll say, or nobody's really focused on. So he had identified all the things that planning and zoning should be doing, and one of the suggestions he made, and I thought this was actually a good thing, that he says maybe one of the things that all the boards and commissions or groups that meet should do is actually have an item on their agenda that says discussion or items of plan of conservation development. In other words, at least every meeting they have, they would at least, okay, have we, what in the plan of conservation development are we involved with, our responsibility for as a goal and objective, and where are we? What have we done? Is it something we need to be working on? Or as things change, do we not, is that no longer what's important to us, of something that we want to be involved with? So I think that's a way to keep it alive. But if more groups do that, and he said even including planning and zoning, he says we should really have that as a standing item on their agenda. So I mean,
Well, what's he expecting to report back to planning and zoning if they come up with, let's say they come up with a document that shows what they've done or what they should do? Does he want feedback to the planning and zoning commission?
that's exactly what he say, Ray. I was just going to say that was the other point he wanted to make, is that really maybe there needs to be this mechanism so there's a feedback loop, so that it's continuous, not just every 5 or every 10 years, or you have to go begging for it. So I think that, I think he sees this as an opportunity to keep this thing moving and make everybody's job easier, in a sense that everybody's part of it and doing their little piece, not just doesn't fall on one group to kind of, say what's going on. So yeah, exactly right. It's a point well taken. See,
Yeah, the planning and zoning meets a week from today. I'm sure it'll be on that agenda. One of the things that I'm going to suggest at that meeting is that since we're still kind of stuck with NECOG for some of the mechanics of producing all of the, the graphs and charts and all of that, that we put in place a work order for NECOG to start, working on some of the details of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we'll get out of that. We've been lucky enough to have some pretty good young people. I'm not sure who's there these days. But we've had, and I can't think of any of the names, but there was a young lady and a young man that Phil Check, brought in, and they did a lot of work that, helped pull all that stuff together.
Yeah.
And as you didn't mention the business association, the last I've heard is that they were going to put out a email to all the members and ask the members what they wanted to do with the association, and if they wanted to dissolve it, what should they do with the money? Because there's around $6,000-7,000 in the treasury. So
yeah, I think that's John Rettenmeyer kind of indicated that was what was going on. I think he did get an email invite for this meeting coming up.
yeah, I'm not sure if they have an active slate of offices. I think probably the best slate would be to reach out to I'm having brain farts here left and right, to the transmission guy.
Terry.
Yeah, Terry. He's not the official president, but he's still kind of speaking for things. And since they have no place to have a car show or any hopes for the car show, that kind of took the wind out of a lot of the sails. So.
Okay. So yeah, everybody bring pencil or paper and pen. I'll make sure I'll follow up with Christine again this week to see about that other pad she was going to hopefully order. and be there at 6:30. We'll set things up, and I'll follow up with send out a couple of additional emails. I mean, if there's other people you come across, I mean, please let them know. I mean, I don't know how many. Hopefully, people look at the Ashford Citizen, because we did get it in there a couple of times. Yeah, we'll just remain hopeful, and we'll go with whoever shows up and make something out of it. That's the way I look at it. Any
Okay,
other thoughts?
no,
Okay.
It's not kind of going off topic, but I think this is a real problem that this town doesn't have a place where you can get anything to eat. There's, as far as a community, I have friends, we'd like to meet for lunch or something, and there's nothing in Ashford anymore. I don't know, is there any move towards, I know it's not for this committee, but my gosh, you don't even have a place where you could meet somebody for a cup of coffee around here anymore. And
But Maureen, we have picnic tables behind the town hall.
oh, okay, Ray, I'll meet you out there in January. Okay. But I mean, it's hard
it's even getting
community.
worse. I mean, the wooden spoon is like
Ugh.
the most cantankerous. The guy that owns that, he's open when he feels like he wants to be open, and then he complains if too many people come or not enough people come. I mean, he's basically run that business to the ground.
Well, they're not open for lunch anymore, really. They're closing at noon.
Yeah.
So you can't, so that's it. I mean, I know this committee is not going to solve that, but if you want to get a cohesive town, you want people to come here.
Well, that'll be something we can talk about next Wednesday.
Yeah. I would put that very top on the agenda. I mean, it's just as an aside, the RM's Bar and Grill is now housing a mechanical insulation contractor.
Right.
I don't know if
Is
you
it going to
noticed
be
that.
forever before the Midway? I mean, nothing's being done with that, obviously.
They're claiming they're going to rebuild it, but it seems like it's hung up with an investigation on
Oh my,
whether there was arson.
oh my. Well, I
Well,
don't
we
know.
don't
That's
know.
just kind of my thought, because I prefer to spend my money in Ashford, and it's just, I can't, there's no place to go here. And if you want people to come here, they need to be able to go get a sandwich or something somewhere.
Right.
I mean, yuck. So anyway, just
Well,
my,
what we need, Maureen, is good food, good booze, and a potbelly stove.
sounds great to me. Well, I know there's been no interest on that service station next to the Wooden Spoon, right? Because somebody a long time ago thought about putting a Subway in there. But that's a pretty good location, and there's not a whole lot of competition.
No.
And you would think, I don't know.
Yep. Okay. Well, hey, we'll see you all next Wednesday.
6:30.
Mike, could you extend this meeting beyond beyond this one I have a comment I want to run at you in regards to
So you need to
economic
jump.
development. Huh?
Okay. Sure.
Okay,
Just
so
take 5 seconds
Okay.
while I got your attention.
So, okay,
Okay.
we lost everybody, but it looks like RM's is never going to be a restaurant again, since it's pretty actively occupied by this insulation contractor. I drove by the other day, and there was like 15, 20 trucks and cars there. So
well, at least it's a good business in there. That's
Right.
a good thing.
yeah, that's better than it being vacant.
Exactly.
And as far as the Midway being rebuilt, I've heard that Peter and George were going to try to take it back over again. But then again, I've also heard that there's nothing really in the actions at all.
Yeah. Nobody knows it. We don't want to start any rumors. So
Exactly. Yeah.
we'll,
I mean,
we'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully it comes back.
And you've had your conversations with the owner of the old sneakers at least 25
Ben.
times, and
Yeah.
doesn't seem to do much of anything.
No, I mean, he's got some people that he's working with, but everybody's got their financial situation. So, I mean, I think he's getting closer, truthfully, but nothing for tomorrow's lunch or dinner.
No, I'm literally amazed at how much vitality that goes on in stores, but even more so how much goes on in Sturbridge. I mean, we,
Yeah.
we lose everyone again.
No, I'm here.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you go to
Well,
up to
even
s-
Eastford.
Yeah.
Eastford's got more going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that, I mean, again, that's part of what hopefully next Wednesday will come out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a lot of people there that can have some good input, and yeah, I'm not sure what the answer is, truthfully, but
Well, when I was
working
thinking
at
of moving, the realtors basically told me that, and this was a couple of years ago before the houses, houses selling left and right. She says, there's no one wants to move to Ashford, especially in a larger home, because there's just nothing to do in Ashford.
I don't know, I keep pretty busy myself, so like,
Well, you spend all your time fishing.
yeah. Well, anyhow,
Well, I think it's going to be a great meeting, Mike. I think
Yeah.
it's a getting going again, and
yeah, I think that's part of it. Just kind of get.
you've done a lot of work, so we appreciate that.
No, we're all in this together,
Yeah.
so we'll put on our happy faces next week, and hopefully have like I said, if we have 10, 15 people show up, then we'll go with it.
You're not going to get more than that.
Well, keep our fingers crossed.
Well,
Okay.
if you have 10 or 15, Knutson says you can't take those numbers and have another meeting in a month or two. I mean, it's not a one and done.
No.
And
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed that Bill Folletti has got something else on his plate instead of coming, since this was kind of built around him.
Well, I mean, it's not. I'm giving you a heads up. He wasn't sure. It wasn't 100%, but unfortunately, all things that come up in our lives. So, gonna.
And I
He's
apologize.
been very supportive.
Yeah, but I apologize that I can't do more.
Yeah.
Trust me, if I could change things at this point, I would.
Well,
Well,
the next meeting we'll hold at your house.
You
Well,
got to
that's-
take care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank you. Just get on the line. That's half of. That's
There's
half the
only so
battle.
many times a day I can make it up the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because my,
you've
'cause
done
my,
plenty,
my
Bill.
computer is in my study upstairs.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hey.
I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you very much.
Good
Take
night.
care. Good night.
Are we there?
You're
Mike?
you're here.
I
Okay.
don't think you went to the end of your agenda.
Oh, I
You
didn't.
didn't?
Let me
Adjourned.
just share a couple of quick things.
We're being recorded here, so
Yeah, but I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but the church in Westford Center has been sold.
yes.
Yep, we knew that.
Okay. The other thing is there is some sort of change in ownership taking place at exit 72.
Yes, wear that.
Yep,
So that's one changes to historic. It's not clear what the guy that bought the church plans to do with it, other than it was kind of a block-in move. He didn't want to see something go in there that would degrade what he saw as his historic center with his property.
yeah, well, I think he's intending to use the basement revitalize the basement and use it for a residence.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
There's very little you can do with the upstairs because of the
No,
way it's
you
constructed.
destroy the building. If you did anything to the upstairs, you destroy I'm not even sure you could get away with it, because I think that's on the US Historic Registry, is it not?
If it isn't, it should be, but someone would have to comment on that. I tried to give it to the town at one point in time, but they were thinking they were going to use it for a teen center at that point, years ago.
It would work.
Well, then unfortunately, Westford Center is, there is no center of Ashford. Westford Center is a long ways from being a center of Ashford.
Well, it's not a center of anything really, and not anymore. I
No?
mean, it's not that, there used to be a little bit of local industry in Westford, but that's long since gone.
Yep. So
Okay.
since just for my own edification, is there any concrete knowledge about what kind of development's going to go into 72?
Well, I don't think this is the meeting for that, and you probably best direct that to Mr. Floody, but there isn't. No, I guess the answer would be no.
Okay. Okay, we'll talk later.
Okay, thanks. Good luck.
Yeah.
Mike, what I sent a note to Margaret when she was concerned with all this listings of businesses in the town of Ashford.
Okay.
And I know I didn't get anywhere, but I was trying to be logical about this. We've gone around this barn many, many times, long before you even showed up with economic development. And her interest in calling everybody and getting everybody involved has a lot of merit. But very bluntly, it's not my bag, I guess. But I did follow through on what I was talking about, and I have in front of me, I'll hold it up like this. It's very thick, but it is the Connecticut business registrations for the town of Ashford. Secretary of State of Connecticut. And I've got probably
300.
maybe 25 pages.
Uh,
And I might point out that it does not include sole proprietorships, but it does include LLCs. And I'll bring out another point that in 2022, we have 10 new businesses that are registered here with the state, giving the address. But that's about all I can get out of it. But my point is, I think that this particular listing is probably as complete as any listing you're ever going to get your mitts on.
that listing though does not include businesses that have ceased business. Does it? They don't refresh that list, right? Those aren't active.
Well, they add, that's the key to it. They add to it,
Right.
but they don't subtract. In other words, I'll go back on this. Now, hang on just a second. It is kind of like in chronological order. Well, I have businesses that go back. Well, I have one here, for example. 362 Ashford Center Road, called Kona Incorporated, 9/30/1987. So I don't know if that even exists anymore, but they would be easy enough to cull out.
Yeah.
The thing is, it is every business that has ever registered with the state or Secretary of State. It's complete, and it's in chronological order. I'm looking now at October 11th, 2022. I have Behavioral RTI LLC. I don't know what it is. And then I have another one here for Luther Branch. He has registered a business, and it shows 9/28/2022, and it's Agbotic Connecticut Ashford LLC. I don't know what it is. What does Luther do? but I mean, he's a guy that's been on many commissions. The thing is, I think if we could cull this particular list, we would have pretty much everything we want.
Okay. Well, I would think that if
But nobody,
cross,
you know, I mean, and this is with addresses.
you have a digital version of that, or is that just
Well, I got it off the internet actually, but I would assume that there is a digital version, and contacting the Secretary of State's office, we might be able to not only get a digital version, but they may have other pieces of data as to type of business and stuff like that we might be able to, but it's broken up by town, which tells me that they probably do something with it. Another organization, you might remember, who the heck were they? Remember when, remember when we were offering
CERT?
CERT? Why wouldn't CERT have a piece of this, or be able to get in contact with the Secretary of State's office and work their magic to come up with something for us?
Well,
Because
again,
what we're looking for is a way to have a current list with address, phone number, and type of business and principal. This particular item here has principal, but it's under an agent's name. Now, a lot of LLCs are created, but they go through a legal agent. And therefore you don't know the exact person. Like Luther did his own work here on his, because I know he's local. And there's another one down here. This guy is David Waller. I don't know if you know who David Waller is, but he runs the Willie Brew.
yeah.
And it shows down here a DE Property Management LLC. But no, I'm just trying to point out that in order to get this stuff, it's not simply picking up the phone and calling people and bugging the hell out of them. It's trying to find logically how you can put together with, decent information, both state and local, to come up with the list you want. I'm sure there's other towns that have the same issue.
Every town.
Yeah.
Every
I mean, every economic development commission has got to have the same problem. How do they handle it?
I think a lot of them do go off the assessors, because that's people who are actually paying taxes. If you're a business, one way or another, you're probably paying taxes. Right?
Well, that's true, but this particular list is required by law.
So, I
If
mean,
you-
I would think if you took the two lists and kind of did where they intersect, where there's commonality, that would be a really good list. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I still think there's more data behind this that would tell us exactly what kind of a business it is and who the contact is.
Well, maybe we could send that, maybe if you can at least give me the website you went to.
Sure.
And then maybe we can just talk with Margaret about it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance. The list she gave me was, most of these are people that live out of town, so it's kind of like, what's their interest in, like, Connecticut Water Company? I mean, you're not. That's
Well, I have not found in this list, quite frankly, anything that's out of town. In other words, the address is given they're all Ashford.
well, that's good.
Well, anyways, I won't take any more of your time, but I mean,
Well, it's good
this is
effort.
a
It's good work. It's good
Pardon?
work. It's good work
But-
you did.
the thing is, it's a bromide. We've done this over and
I
over and
know.
over again. And I can tell you right now, for me to pick up and call a business and pester the hell out of people who don't want to be pestered, it's not going to happen. No matter how upset Margaret becomes, it's not going to happen for me.
Well, I think, the bigger question is once we get a list, what do we want to do with it? What is our mission, our goal with it?
You got it. What do you want to do with it when you get it?
It's to me that tells me that, if I want to just focus on certain types of businesses or some area where we feel we can help, something that will help a certain group of businesses, I think we need to identify that up front as part of what our effort is. Because, I mean, it's nice to have that And then, you know, unless you just want to send out a general mailer, or like we were talking about the possibility of this ARPA grant, then you want to contact all the businesses and have a good list to use. So then that's a purpose, but having a total list. But yeah, I think between you and I think we still need to figure out a kind of a future goals and objectives for EDC that are more focused, so we're not all over the place, and things that are obtainable and workable. I mean, because it's kind of like it's almost overwhelming the amount of stuff that we kind of get involved with, and we kind of only do a little bit of each and never get something completed all the way, you know.
Right. Well,
But,
I brought this to her attention. I didn't give her any other information other than the fact that I had it. I told her I was going to check with the Department of Revenue to see whether I can come up with any other definitive, which I will. And I think I can go back to the Secretary of State's office and find some ombudsman there that will direct me to an office that may have a statistical capacity that I can dig further on, and because this exists. It's a reality. It's in their system. It's public knowledge. They must do something with it. It's not just laying there like a lump. So anyways.
no, it's good, because I think your other
It is-
point is rather than us all trying to spend hours and hours and hours, there's probably some groups that have already done all the work. It's just a matter of finding those groups and ask them for their information.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So yeah.
Okay.
John,
Well,
that's great. That's
I
great.
won't keep you any longer. I just want to make you aware of it
That's
as I
great.
made her aware of it. I will send you the website that I found and you can take a look at it.
Sounds good.
I'm not sure in this format it's usable, but right off the top, it tells me that there's new businesses that are in existence or created themselves in 2022, and I have a list of them.
That's great.
And that's a requirement on the part, that's a legal requirement that they must register with the Secretary of State.
Well, I think one of the things that EDC should do is welcome all those, at some point, pick a date, whether it's July 1st or maybe at the end of the year, and just welcome them, maybe, to Ashford, I mean, a simple thing like that, it could be a game changer over time,
Yeah, well, they're right here. I mean, they go back to, well, let's see, what do I have here? All right, on the first page I have. Well, even more than that, good God, it goes back to January 11th, 2022. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Oh, wow.
20 new companies in Ashford. I have their address, know who they are. Boom,
Wow.
right here.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what they mean. I mean, like I've got one here, equine Bogia, whatever that, what's equine? That must be a horse farm up on Bevington Road. Clinical Quality Assurance Professionals. What the hell is that?
Consulting.
Okay, Wolf and Woods LLC. We don't know what that is. Burton Consulting. Okay, here's another one. Morgan Dressage Association. That's a horse farm, easily. Our Oakfields LLC on Slade Road. I mean, I don't know what they do, but apparently they exist because they took the time to register with the state.
Sounds good. Great work.
Catch you later.
Yeah, you keep smiling.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care.